Hi, I'm Carla Lacerda, and I've been working with STAAR, supporting the occupied Palestinian territory for the past year and a half. I have a lot of a humanitarian background, and I look at the nexus between humanitarian action and social protection responses. So I think where BASIC has made the most useful contribution has really been on providing evidence and documentation that social protection systems in crisis and in the most difficult contexts continue to exist in some form or another, and that social protection systems are actually upheld by social frontline workers. They aren't supported just by themselves. And so it's really critical to recognize that link between the systems and the people behind them, and also the fact that they're also affected populations as well. And I think the BASIC evidence has done a brilliant job at being able to provide evidence across the board in Palestine, Yemen, Afghanistan, Sudan, Somalia, to really highlight and stress that humanitarian crisis can pull and can leverage from these existing systems. I think a key lesson for me has been that it's not just Palestine that have challenges around sustaining and maintaining social protection systems in crises. We see that in Yemen, we see it in many other contexts across the globe. And I think drawing from those lessons has been hugely helpful to be able to bring that back to the Palestinian context and be able to use some of these experiences to untangle some of the complexities that we find. I think what's really been important is that there's such a shift in global aid discussions at the moment. And I think we've been so focused on trying to advocate to the international actors and to donors. I think that one of the things that definitely for me was quite ground shaking was sort of shifting the lens and really looking at national governments and talking to them directly and being able to see to which extent we can influence them and their policies and their responses to crisis. I think a key interaction with BASIC has really been understanding that national actors are in the front line of crisis, and we often don't see that as much, and it's not in the headlines. And so I think that that was really, really key to be able to highlight and document that. Um, in Palestine, for example, in the West Bank, the Palestinian authorities continue to deliver and respond in displacement crisis. In Gaza, financing has been restricted. However, the system is still there, and there is a national social register to be able to deliver assistance to people in need. And so it's really about tapping into those existing systems and making sure that national governments are at the forefront of the response, with support obviously from international actors and financial institutions. It was fantastic to be able to see that we are all facing very similar challenges, and it was brilliant to reconnect to such great minds on these issues, and I really look forward to taking that back with me and being able to use those experiences to influence change and have an impact on the way the Palestinian response to this conflict and this crisis is ongoing. So I think we need to be better communicating our evidence. I think evidence is in and of itself fantastic, but it needs to be action oriented. We need to move beyond what is on paper into actual delivery and results. So that's a key takeaway for me. How do we communicate that research and that knowledge in an advocacy manner and in a way that's going to land with governments, it's going to land with donors, and it's going to land with international humanitarian actor that may be less aware of how social protection systems and national responses occur. I think the second takeaway for me is that we need to have more synergetic opportunities. We need more platforms to discuss those, not just evidence, but how do we take this forward? How do we jointly plan and coordinate a response? How do we have greater coherence of how we want to deliver social and humanitarian assistance in a crisis?